All right, let's just jump right into this one. The title alone is enough to make you look twice, right? The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Now, you might think it's a guide to being indifferent, but Mark Manson's book is actually, well, it's the total opposite. It's a really raw, super honest look at how to figure out what actually matters in your life and then just letting go of everything else.
This quote right here, this is pretty much the key to the entire book. What's he talking about? Well, think about it. The more you desperately chase feeling good, the more you're just reminding your brain that you don't feel good right now. It's this horrible feedback loop. And if you can really wrap your head around this one idea, everything else we're about to talk about will just click into place.
So, first things first, let's get one thing straight. This book is not about becoming some apathetic robot who cares about nothing. I mean, that's just impossible, right? We're human. We're wired to care about something. The real art, the subtle part, is all in how you choose. It's about deciding where to invest your energy, your fucks, if you will, and dedicating them only to what is genuinely important to you. And this is a really crucial distinction. On one side, you've got indifference. That's just apathy. It's passive. It's empty. But what we're talking about here is an active choice. It's being okay with being different because you've consciously decided what's worth your time and what isn't. It's not about apathy at all. It's about being incredibly selective with your focus. Okay, so this brings us to the big idea at the heart of this whole philosophy. It's a concept called the backwards law, which Manson actually borrows from the philosopher Alan Watts. And it just perfectly explains why our constant search for happiness seems to, blow up in our faces. Let's see how this actually works. Okay, first up, money. You're obsessed with being rich. You dream about it, you fixate on it, you're constantly thinking about what you don't have. And what happens? Well, that desperate chase just hammers home the feeling that you're not there yet. You actually end up feeling more poor and unworthy than when you started.
Or how about this one? You desperately want to be seen as attractive and desirable. You're always comparing yourself to others, always needing that validation.
The more you chase it, the more you just fixate on all your supposed flaws. You end up seeing yourself as uglier, no matter what the reality is. It's a trap. And here it is, the big one, the one that gets almost all of us. You make being happy the ultimate goal. You're on a quest for it. You think you're supposed to feel it all the time. And by doing that, you become hyper-aware of every single moment that you aren't happy. This just leads to feeling lonely, anxious, and constantly afraid that you're somehow failing at life. So let's just put a definition on it. The backwards law is this idea that chasing a positive experience just reinforces that you don't have it. But, and here's the crazy part, the flip side is also true. Accepting a negative experience, leaning into the struggle, accepting the pain, that is actually a positive experience in itself. Because that's where you find strength. That's where you find real satisfaction.
Okay, so if chasing good feelings is a trap, then what are we supposed to do? Well, Manson argues that we need to totally rethink our relationship with problems. Instead of trying to avoid them all the time, we should actually learn to welcome them.
This is such a game changer of a thought. A life with no problems? It doesn't exist. And you know what? It would be incredibly boring. Real, genuine happiness isn't some final destination where everything is perfect. It's an action. It's the feeling you get when you pick a meaningful problem and you start working on it. Happiness is found in the solving. So this flips the whole script. Instead of asking, what do I want out of life or what do I enjoy, you need to ask yourself a much tougher and way more important question. What pain am I willing to put up with? What struggle am I willing to endure? Because the answer to that is what will actually determine your path. And that's the thing, isn't it? Everybody wants the shiny prize at the end, but not everyone is willing to go through the messy, painful process to get there. Your identity, who you really are, it's not defined by what you want. It's forged in the struggles you're willing to take on for the things you value. Okay, but what about the stuff that happens to us that really, truly isn't our fault? This is where a lot of us get stuck. And Manson makes this incredibly powerful distinction between fault and responsibility. They are not the same thing. Let's break this down. Fault, that's about the past. It's a done deal. It's about who caused the problem. Responsibility, that's about the present. It's about the choice you're making right now. The book uses this perfect analogy. Someone leaves a baby on your doorstep. It is absolutely not your fault. But guess what? It is now 100% your responsibility to decide what to do next. And this is just so empowering. See, when you blame other people, you're literally giving your power away.
But when you take responsibility, even for things that aren't your fault, you take that power back. We don't control what happens to us. We never will. But we always control our response.
So, if our lives are all about the struggles we choose, that leads to an even bigger question. How do we choose good struggles? Well, it all boils down to what you choose to value in the first place. What are the right things to give a fuck about?
Well, Manson gives us a really simple checklist. Good, healthy values are, first, based in reality. They're not wishful thinking. Second, they're socially constructive. They make the world a slightly better place. And maybe most importantly, they are immediate and controllable. Think about a value like honesty. You can practice that right now. But a value like be popular? You can't control that. That depends on other people. That's a bad value.
And this brings us to the last and maybe the most powerful idea in the entire book. How do we get absolute clarity on what really matters? We have to confront the one thing we know for sure, that we're going to die. The fact of our own death is like a compass. It cuts through all the noise, all the trivial stuff, and points us toward what's actually important. So I'll just leave you with this. It's a little thought experiment. If you knew this was your last day on Earth, what would you choose to care about? Suddenly, all the small anxieties, the meaningless goals, they just fall away, don't they? What's left? What would you truly give a fuck about? The answer to that question, well, that's where a good life begins.